Hi everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm Vic Cundiff and I'll be your host for the show. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to help support the show by becoming a premium member, please go to dogmanencounters.com/podcast to sign up. Memberships are only $2.99 a month. By becoming a premium member, you'll be able to download episodes onto your mobile device and listen to them commercial-free wherever you go. Also, if you'd like to check out the new Dogman Encounters t-shirt store, please go to dogmanencounters.com/store and take a look around. Buying a t-shirt or sweatshirt there is another great way to help support the show. As always, thanks for listening. Alright, let's bring on tonight's guest. If you've listened to episodes 193 and 195, you'll remember tonight's guest, Marvin Allen. Marvin on those episodes came on and told us about several Dogman encounters that he's collected over the years. Well, he's back for tonight's show to share some new encounters with you. Marvin, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Vic.
Oh, thanks for being here and thanks for coming back. You're back by popular demand so that you know people couldn't get enough of you.
That's good to hear.
Well, it's the truth. That's how it is. Marvin, let's not waste any time. You've got a lot of stories to share with us. Please jump in and tell us about these new encounters you've collected.
All right, Vic. The first story I'm going to tell you about is coming out of West Virginia. This lady named is D. Like I said before, the guy Dave, he's been doing a lot of groundwork, so he introduced me to this person. So once I talked to her, because it took about a week or two for her to come forward and tell me her story. Her name is Dee. She's from West Virginia. She's a single mother. She got one little girl. She said she loved the outdoors. She liked to take walks, nature walks. So she decided one weekend, since she didn't have a daughter, she took her daughter over to her mom's house. So she said, since she was by herself, just her, and she had a little dog. I think she had like a little Shih Tzu. So she said she would take them for a walk. So she woke up one morning, got herself together, ate breakfast, got her dog, and she headed on out. Now, about a mile from her house, because she usually walk, it's like a little trail that she usually takes. So she walking down the street wearing a dog. She got him on a little leash, the kind that can stretch out. So as she walking, it started to like drizzle. So she thinking in her mind, should she turn back and go back in the house or she should continue? So she said since it wasn't raining hard, she said she would continue. So she started walking. So after about 20, 25 minutes, she said she gets to the trail. So she walks up in the trail. Her little puppy, he's running around trying like he just want to get off the string. So she unleashed the string and let him go. He goes and relieves himself. So she walking up around through the trail. So as she's walking up, her little puppy is in front of her. But as the puppy gets probably about 15 feet in front of her, he stops. Little puppy ears go straight up. So she called him back, say, what's wrong? What's wrong? Come here, come here. Little puppy won't move. It just stuck there. It's like it's froze. So she walks up there to it and she picked him up. She said, what's wrong? What's wrong? Everything will be all right. What's wrong? So his ears just go straight down and he started whimpering. So she said, what's wrong? There's nothing out here. You okay? So she started walking some more. She got the puppy in her hand now. So they started walking up some more. So as she walking, she heard this noise, like a scratching sound noise, like something scratching on the side of a tree. You know, she turning around looking, trying to see what direction it's in, because she can't really tell where it's coming from. So she stopped. So she said when she stopped, she said she looked about 30 yards to her right. And she said she could see something. She said a dark figure behind this tree. She could see like part of his shoulder and his arm. So she looked and she was like, what is that? So she starts to turn around and then head back down the path. So as she's going down the path, she hears something walking behind her. So now she's trying to pick up her pace and get back down to the edge of the road. So when she gets to the edge of the road, she crosses over on the other side of the street from where the trail was at. So she turns around. When she turns around, she says she can see this thing she's seen behind the tree because it's about 5 feet up in the tree line. So I asked her, what was it? She said, what she saw looked like a dove, but it was standing upright. And she described how it looked. She said that it was black, but she said it had like some brown in it, like it was black and brown, or maybe that's how it looked because of the light. So she said that it had the pointy ears, it had the snout, it had the long arms, the hands, and it had the claws. So as she looking at this thing, because it's still staring at her, she said she started walking back towards her house. But as she walking back to her house, mind you, this thing is like paralleling in the tree line, going towards the direction she's going. So after she walked, I don't know, probably for about 5 or 10 minutes, she said it's a car coming up from the other side of the way. So as the car get close, she waves the car down. So the lady stopped. She, Rolanda, what's wrong? She said, can I please get in your car? Can I please get in your car? Can you take me home? She got in the car. She could take her home. Now, she got her puppy on her lap. The dog is frightened. I mean, this puppy is just shaking. So the lady asking her, she said, what's wrong? She said, nothing. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong. She said, but baby, you shaking. Just, what's wrong? She said, I don't even know if I should even talk about it. I seen something that I thought shouldn't even be out here. So the lady asked her, she said, well, what was it? What did you see? She said, never mind. So the lady took her home. She went in the house. She got on the phone. She called her mother. Her mother asked her what's wrong. She hysterical and all that. She said, Ma, I need to talk to you. And her mother said, what? She said, Ma, I went to walk the dog this morning. And when we got up in the path that I usually take, she said, I saw something. And she said, what did you see? She said, Ma, I seen this some kind of creature. It looked like a dove, like a human dove thing, standing up in the tree line. And when I left out, it was right there about 5 or 10 feet up in the trail. And then it paralleled me walking in the woods when I was walking back towards my house before I got a ride. And she said, baby, you sure you didn't see nothing else? She said, Ma, that's why I didn't want to tell you. So she hung up with her mother. She let it go. So when I talked to this lady, I mean, like I said, she's still in shock about this encounter she had. And she said that she don't even go that way. She don't even deal with the woods. She said that she got to walk her dog from now on. She said she'll go to like a place where public at and walk her dog or whatever. So that's that encounter right there. Now, I got another counter. It's coming out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And this lady name is Miss J. Now, Miss J, it was during the time that the death of her mother. So she said that she would get up, go and put some flowers on her mother's grave. So she wake up the day that she gonna go and put the flowers on her mother's grave. She get herself together. She jump in the car. So she go to the store, get her mother some flowers that she gonna put on her grave and everything. But when she leave out the store and she sat back in the car, she contemplating because now it's bringing back memories and a lot of pain because, she don't really want to go to no cemetery because she said she ain't been there in years. So she made it up in her mind that she gonna go and she gonna put these flowers on her mother's grave because she miss her and it's the least she can do. But what she did before she left, she called her sister and asked her sister, would she make it down there to put flowers on Mama's grave? And she said, no, I don't think I'm going to make it, so you might have to go by yourself. She hung up with her, so she gets back in her car and she goes and visits her mother's grave site. Now, this grave site where her mother was at, she said it's not like the real big kind of grave site where it's really gated in and all that, and they got the big buildings and everything and the mausoleums and like that. It's like a little small grave site. But on the other side of that grave site, she said it's like wooded area. So she parked, she get out her car, She goes in there, goes over to her mother's little plaque that's in the ground, and she put the flowers on there. Sat there, talked to her mother for a while. She let her know how much she missed her. So, says that she's sitting there, she started to cry and tear up. And she said while she was sitting there, she said that her phone had rung. She looked at the call, and she seen that it was her sister calling her back. She don't answer the phone, though. She ignores it. So she said after about a few more minutes, after she said her goodbyes and everything, she gets up and she started walking back toward her car so she can leave out. Now, as she going to leave out, and I remind you, I said it was tree lines in the back of that graveyard because it's not very big. It's not a large, so it's tree lines in the back of there. But on the right, as she's coming out, it's a few trees over there too. And it is a couple of big headstones over that side towards the right. So she walking back out to go to her car. So as she walking to her car, she sees something out her peripheral vision, out the corner of her eye. She just take a glance. So she said over there where one of these large headstones was at, she said she seen something pop up and then drop back down. She said it was a dark figure, but she couldn't really see what it was because she just seen a quick up and down. So she paid no attention. She keeps walking. So she walks over, she goes out, and she gets to her car. So she right there on the passenger side. So she looks back over there again. Now this time when she look over there, she see the same thing that she seen before, but she didn't really get a good look at it. She said this thing was down on all fours, but she didn't know what it was. She just thought it might have been a stray dove. But she looking, she was like, this thing is too big to be a dove. And then she said it was, real bulky in the way that it was, the stance that it was standing in. It was like high up top. It was real broady down on all fours. And this thing was just, she said it just kept looking at it and staring at her. So as she looking at it, on the other side of that, it's like more big headstones. So she said this thing just shot fast past these headstones. And it went all the way down to the last one, the other end. Now, mind you, she said when this thing got down to the other end of that last headstone, she said this thing, she don't know what it was. She said this thing was the width on it, the length on it, because it was still on all fours. Part of it was out in front of the headstone, and the back end was hanging out on the other end. She said that end was low. She said this thing did have a tail. That's why she said she thought it was a dove. She said this thing did have a tail. So she said she looking at this thing. She said now she can hear this thing start to growl like a little growl. So she walking around towards the driver's side now. So she opens the door. She said when she opened this door, she said because she not that far from where this thing was at. Probably about, I'm going to say 30, 40 feet, which not real far. She said when she opened that door and that sound, it make that beep beep and the sound when you open the door like an alarm thing. So when she opened that door, that's when she heard this pop sound that this thing made. So she said then this thing stood up. And she said she know that headstone that was over there because she had walked through that whole graveyard. She said that headstone would stand at least 5 feet up. She said when this thing stood up, she said this thing towered over this headstone. So you figuring this thing was probably 7.5 to 8 feet tall. She said this thing was huge. She said this thing was big. She said it had broad shoulders. This thing had long arms. It had the snout. She said, but the snout wasn't real long like you would see on like a German Shepherd or something like that, or a Dogman pigeon. It wasn't long like that. She said, but it had a thick snout. She said it had the pointy ears, and she said it was like twitching its ears. And this thing looking at her, she seen the hands and everything. She said it had long hands with black claws. She said, now this thing was like a brownish color. It wasn't black. It was like a brownish color. She said, but Bob was standing right there by that tombstone thing. She said she seen one of the legs. So she knew that the leg that she seen was a canine type leg. Cause she seen that. So she knew he had the bent back legs and everything. So she said when this thing was looking at her, it's like it was like it had a smile on its face, like a grin. And it just stared at her. And she said it's like when this thing stared at her, man, it's like this thing, it looked straight through you. She said she'd never been so scared in her life. She said she jumped in her car, started her car up, started driving. But as she driving, she said she knows she was driving kind of fast, but she said everything was like slowing down. And as she was driving, she made quick eye contact again with this creature. And she just looked at this thing as she was driving past, and she just said she just got out there. And she said she ain't been back out to her mother's grave site to put no flowers on her grave. And she said this happened 5 years ago, so she said she haven't been back out there to put no flowers on her grave since. So when I talked to her, I asked her, I said, so do you know what you saw? She said, I don't know what it was, and I explained to her about these cryptids out here that's called Dogman. And I gave her a little information on it, so hopefully she'll take it in mind and take it in her heart, and she'll look up some of these things on YouTube. And I told her about the Dogman channel, so hopefully she'll check that out. And I keep in contact with her every now and then to call her to make sure that she all right. So that's that encounter. And like I said, that happened in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Now, this other encounter that I got, this one come out of Pennsylvania. And Dave, the guy that helped me get these encounters, he put me in contact with these people right here. Their names is Torrey and Josh. Torrey is from Pennsylvania when Josh was just going up there to visit him. And they said that they were supposed to meet up at the Lawn Hill State Park. So Josh goes up there on one weekend so he can meet up with his friend Torrey. So they meet up. So they go to this park. Torrey was telling them about this place where they was going to go at. So when they goes up in this park, it's the trail that they said that they had took. Now, when you come in down this trail, they said it's wooded. When I say they say it's wooded all around. So as they going through this trail, they come out at the tip of it. Now, when they come out at the tip, they said it's nothing but boulders out there. Big boulders. I mean, it's a lot of boulders. And on the right side of them, it's like a small stream. And this stream goes all the way around this tree line. And when it gets on the other side, on the left-hand side, it's some more boulders that runs across that'll take you all the way on the other side. Now, in the middle of this stream that goes around, it's like a little marsh area. It looks like a little island, they say. So they say when they go up there, they walk to the left. Now, to the left, it's like a rock formation, they said. So these is like steps that come down. So you can walk up and you can walk down. But mind you, on the right-hand side of them, it's water running off of them. So as you coming down, you got to be careful. But they on the other side of the end. So when where the stream starts at and the big gravel rocks, they walks over that side, over there where the stream running down. So they got to be careful. Now, mind you, this stream is real small, they say. So Josh and Torrey, they goes on the other side by the steps. Now, when you come down the steps, they say, and you coming down, like I said, it's a little small stream there, so they walk on the side of this little stream. The water's not real deep. It's like real shallow water. So they walks over there. You know, it's a little spot over there where Torrey usually go at and sit. So him and Josh, they sitting over there. Now, behind them, probably about 20 feet, it's these, I can't remember what kind of trees they say, but it's some big trees, and it's like they've been, I mean, you can look at something and tell when wind knocks something over, but it's like something just pushed these straight over. And it's like three big trees just sitting over. Like, they didn't want somebody to go down that way. Now, further down there, that stream go further back, they say. So they say they sitting there, they talking. So in the back of them, Torrey hears something like thump in the water. So Torrey asked Josh, he said, Josh, did you hear that? Josh was like, yeah, I heard it. You know what I mean? It might have been a rock or something. He said, man, there ain't no rock falling in the water like that, because it was like a thump sound. So they don't pay no attention. So as they sitting there, they hear something walking bipedal in the water. Like it's walking in the water. So they looking back there. But mind you, back there, now this is like in the afternoon, they say. And when you look back there, it's so thick back there, it's like it's dark, because there's so much foliage and trees back there, man. You can't really hardly see nothing. So they looking back there, they hear these steps in the water, but they don't see nothing. So they ain't paying no attention. They say, man, I don't know, maybe it's a little critter or something like that, a raccoon or something, or a squirrel, I don't know. So they don't pay no attention. So they sit there and they talking. So Torrey was asking Josh how his job going and everything. So they hear it again. This thing is still walking. So now they get up. They walks out in the stream, because like I say, where they at, that water's not deep. So they walks out in that little small stream. So they look. And when they look back there, when I said this thing back there was dark, you can't hardly see nothing. But now they look back there, they said now they see some glowing eyes. And they said these eyes was orange and they was sitting up high. So they looking, but they can't really see nothing but the eyes, because it's dark back there. So they looking, so they like, they can't be no eyes. Now they trying to think of something, playing tricks in their mind like it's a firefly, something like that. No, that's not no firefly, nothing like that. These eyes was huge, like the size of a golf ball. That's how big they was. So they said they standing there, so now they taking easy baby steps walking forward to see what this thing is. Now they said they can see these eyes move to the right. They can still hear these sounds in the water though. This thing is walking, it's bipedal. So they know it's on 2 feet. So they looking. Now these eyes start coming towards them. So they stop. They looking. So now they can start seeing this silhouette. It's like coming right towards them, a silhouette. Now, right where I told you where those trees was at, that's where this thing stopped at. They said this thing stopped right there, put his hands up on that tree. They said his hands were so big that they hung over the other side. They could see the claws on this thing. They said this thing had like a smirk on its face. They said they seen the teeth on these things. This thing had some long, long canine teeth. They said it looked just like a dog in the face. They said this thing was looking at him. It said it had the snout. They could see the ears up. They said, because when it leaned over them trees right there, them large logs, they said it was kind of hunched over tip, like it had like a hump in its back or something. They said this thing had some big shoulders. They said the chest, the pectoral muscles, they said they seen all that. Now underneath, like where the logs at, they said they could see that this thing had canine legs. They couldn't see the feet because the feet was in the water. But other than that, they seen the arms, they seen everything. So now they in shock. You're like, what the is that? Now me say, I don't know what it is, but we need to get out of here. So they said they start backing up. So they said this thing, as they backing up, they said this thing start growling at them. But it wasn't a loud growl, but it was like a growl where they said that they could feel the vibration of this thing. Like they could feel it in their chest. So as they walking backwards, this thing takes one of his claws and it starts scratching on that log, scratching on the log. So right where I told you where them steps was at, because they didn't go on the other side, where them steps was at, they came down, it was made out of rock formation. They said they walked up there. Now when they get to the top, they turn around and they look again. When they look back, they said that thing was still standing right there at that tree stump. So they looking at this thing. But they say this thing takes his arms off the tree, and this thing, it leaped literally on the other side of where they was before they walked up them brick steps. it leaped. I mean, they said this thing jumped high. It leaped, splashed in the water, splash. And then it started walking towards them. So now they turn around, they start running. Now, mind you, they got to go all the way around the other side to get back on the trail to where they was at. All the way on the other side. So they running. They say that they running where them brick thing steps at. They say this thing up on the top of the thing now. Now, the way that they ran, this thing is trying to parallel them, running through the woods. This thing ain't having no problem running through the woods, they said. Now, mind you, Torrey has a gun on him. He don't pulls it out. They still running, but this thing is still paralleling. So Josh tell him, Josh say, man, don't you got a gun on you? He said, yeah. Said, man, you need to give it a warning shot or something. So he said they stopped. He said as soon as they stopped, this creature stopped. And it stared at him. So he pulled out his gun. Boom, boom. Fired 2 warning shots. But this thing, it's just like it's still standing there looking at him. So Torrey said he points this thing over in the direction of this creature. Now, he said he don't want to really shoot this thing because he don't know because he said he had a 40 caliber. He said he don't know what this thing going to do if he shoot it and they don't kill him. But he said when he pointed this thing at this creature, he said this creature, it moved to the side. It didn't stay in the spot where he aimed that gun at. They walking, trying to get back on that other part. He still got the gun on this thing. But every time he put the gun on it, this thing would move. So he said they finally get around to the other side of this trail thing. So they leave out the park. They go back to Torrey house. So George said, man, what do y'all got up here in these woods? He said, man, to tell you the truth, that's my first time that I ever seen something like that. So George told him, he said, man, I can't do this. Now, I can't even come up here no more. I don't know what was that. Some kind of dove hybrid thing, alien, because they didn't know what it was. Like I said, they said they know this thing was massive. It had the shoulders, the ears, the snout. When they seen them long canines, they said that the teeth looked like they was white. Didn't have no discolor to them and nothing. Said them things was white. But he said when that thing stood up right there where that log was at, he said that thing had to be tall. Because the logs was a nice little bit pushed over. So it wasn't like it was real low to the ground. It was probably about 4 feet off the ground if you was to put something. He said, and this thing, you could see like almost to this thing thighs. That's why they say they knew it had to be big. So, like I said, that was their encounter. So, this next encounter, this happened in North Carolina too. And this was in Lake Norman, and this was the park area too. And I had got in contact with this guy, Jesse. Jesse said that he liked to go out and he liked to watch wildlife. So he said when he get out to this park, he said we walking the trail, we looking at this wildlife. So he goes down there. He said it's like a big old lake down there. So he go down there. We said to why down there. He said he see a couple of deers. They came down to have a drink. So he walking around because it's like a little trail you can walk to go around and go on the other side of this lake. So he decided, I'm going to walk and I'm going to go over on that side. So he walking to go around to go on the other side of this lake. So when he walking, we noticed there's some guys in a boat. So I guess they was out there fishing or whatever. So they asked Jesse, hollered out to him. They said, hey, you going fishing? When Jesse was like, no, I'm just walking, just sightseeing. So one of the guys in the boat, he told Jesse, they like old timers, they said, why you out here? Just be careful and watch your surroundings. He said, what you mean by that? So his friend said, he don't mean no harm. He just talking out the side of his neck. So he said, young buddy, why you out here? Just watch your surroundings. So Jesse goes on the other side. Now, he said when he get on the other side, he said he walks up this trail. And when he get up this trail, it's like an embankment, and it goes up. And then he said it goes down when you cross over and it goes down on the other side, like it goes down in a ravine or a gorge, something like that. So he said he walking up there looking down. So he say when he looking down, he said it's an area down there that's got it's like he said they went in there, took some trees out or something down there. So he said he walking, but he looking down there while he walking in that spot right there. So now coming up to where he at, he said that's probably like a 30 or 40 foot drop down into that ravine, that gorge, and then it goes out into that area where he said there wasn't no trees at, but it's trees all around on the other side, like something went in there and they cut it out. So he said as he walking, he said he looking down. He said when he looked down, he said he could see something like it's darting through the trees, going through tree to tree. But he don't know what it is. He don't know if it's a deer or a coyote or whatever. But he's still looking down at. So this thing's still darting, going through tree to tree. Now, the direction that Jesse's going up the other side, you can go, and it's like a little embankment that you can go down, or you could come up. That's probably about 25 feet in front of him. So this thing is darting through the trees like it's going towards that little path right there. So he said as he walking, when he get like 10, 15 feet from where that little path that go down to come up, he said he looking, he can see that this thing shoots up that little path in the direction to where he's coming at. So he stopped because he don't know what it is now. So when he stopped, he started to walk backwards. So as he said, as he walking backwards, he said this thing steps out on the path that he was taking right there with the ravine at the gorge, but he comes up down the other end of this little dirt path. It comes up and it comes out and it stands in the middle of the path where he was at. And he said when this thing stepped out and stood on that path, he said he liked on himself. He said his heart like to stop. He don't know what that thing was. He said this thing stepped out on his path. And when it stepped out on its path, he said that when it stepped out on there, man, it's like he can hear the sounds that this thing made with his feet because it was so heavy and so big. He said this thing just stood in the path, man. He said, and when it was breathing, it's like it was breathing hard, inhaling, exhaling hard, like it was trying to catch his breath. But he said he could see the chest on this thing inflating in and out. He said this thing had human-like shoulders. He said it had the upper body of a man, and down the bottom it had the canine legs. It had the pointy ears. It had the snout. He said this thing looked like something that should be on TV, not in the woods. So he said he's still walking backwards, but he watching this thing. He said, and as he walking backwards, when he walked, he said it was thick, the part where he walking at, and he almost slipped and he fell. And when he tried to catch his balance, he said this thing took a few steps, but he said it stopped. So he said he's still walking backwards. So he's trying to get back to where he came from so he can go all the way around on the other side to where he started to come in at. So he turns around. He said he started running. But he looked back. He said this thing is not running after him. So he turns around. He's running again. So as he's running and he gets down to where he started at to go up the embankment, he coming down that side so he can go around the other way. He said now when he turned around, though, he said he see this creature at the top of the embankment that he just came down. He running around to get all the way on the other side. And the two guys in the boat, they yell out to him, son, you all right? You all right? He said, get out of here, something in the woods. I don't know what it is. So the old man said, I told you to be careful. I told you to be careful to watch your surroundings. You got to watch where you go at in these woods. So mind you, the old men, they had guns on the boat too. So while Jesse said they was running, Jesse pointed up in the direction, said that thing is up there on the tree line. Thing is up there on the tree line, getting ready to come down the little embankment where the ravine at. So the old men, they just started shooting over in that direction. They was from the Wild Wild West or something. So mind you, Jesse get round on the other side, man. So he leaves and go. His head is still messed up to this day. When I talk to him, he don't want to go sightseeing, hiking no more. It's like when people see these things, man, it do something to them because they don't want to do the things that they used to. And that's one thing I noticed about these cryptids, man. And it makes no sense, man, that the stuff that they do to people and what they can do on people's minds. But like I said, everybody that I get these encounters from, man, I always keep in contact with. Now, this other encounter, this comes from the little girl that I was telling you about, and this one comes out of Virginia too. It took me a couple of weeks to get this encounter because, like I said, this girl, she was young. Her mother really didn't want her to say nothing about it, but I guess after Dave talked to the people for a while, he let her know that I was a good guy, that I had permission for her daughter to tell me her accounts of this story and for me not to use her name. And the mother only said that it was in Virginia. She don't want to say because it's her parents' place. And after this encounter happened, she said she don't think she never taken her back down there again. Now, this happened in 2015, and this was in Virginia. Now, the name that I'm using in here, because people don't want you to use a name sometimes, is Ty G. So her mother was taking her to Virginia to see her grandparents. So they get to Virginia. Now, when they get down in Virginia, Ty J has another little cousin there, and her name is, I'm going to use Talia. So they down there, they meet up, because that's their first time seeing each other, different sides of the family. So they in the house, and they talking. So by they got there, it was kind of late. So Talia tells Ty J, tomorrow we'll go outside and we'll play. We'll have some fun. I can show you around. Because that ain't Talia's first time visiting the grandmother down there. But it's Ty J first time down there. So Talia basically said that she knew her way around and everything like that. So the next day, they get up. Ty J, Talia, they say they eat. So Talia say, let's go outside and play because on the grandparents' property, they had little swing set and stuff like that because they had a nice piece of land down there, little swing set. So she said they go outside and they was playing on a swing set. So Talia was telling Ty J, yeah, I'm bored. It ain't really nothing to do. She said, let's go for a walk. So Ty J kept telling Talia, I don't want to go for no walk. I ain't from down here. I don't know where I'm going at. So Talia say, I've been down here. I know where to go. I know where we can go and have some fun. We can go and pick mushrooms and stuff like that. You know, this is something that Ty J never did, but Talia had. So she talks Ty J into going with her, walking, picking flowers and mushrooms and stuff like that. So she goes and they walk about, I'm going to say, 100 feet on their parents' property to where this little tree line start like a little path. So Ty J stops at the path and Talia say, what's wrong? She say, I don't want to go up in them woods. But Talia, you know, talked to end up walking up in there anyway. So they walking and they talking and Talia was asking Ty J, you know, how it is in the city. When Ty J was telling her how it was, you had more fun than down here. So Talia say, well, you'll have fun down here. So they walking. When you go in the path that Ty J said they was on, they said it started out straight, but then it would curve and goes around and it would straighten out again. It would go like a straight line and then it would curve like an L. So they said they walked down that. So they said as they was walking, Ty J said that she had smelled something, but she didn't know what it was. She said something stink. And Talia was like, well, it might be something dead out here. You know, I smell that stuff all the time. Now, mind you, Talia said she had smelled this kind of smell, but she said she never seen nothing. So she said that it might be something dead. You know, Tajay was like, well, this stink, I want to go back. So she was like, no, come on, let's walk. Come on. We're going to just walk a little bit more, and then we're going to turn it back around. Now, they walked probably about a couple more minutes. Now, Tajay said this smell was strong. She said it was just irritating her face. Her eyes was burning and stuff like that. She said it was so strong. Urine, and it smelled like something dead and all that. It just smelled like somebody went to use the bathroom. So Tajay said that she heard a noise up to the left, up in the tree line on the left-hand side. So Tajay looking over in that direction, and Talia said, well, what's wrong? She got silence, like she wouldn't say nothing. Now, mind you, they in the middle of this path, but they got to go down and they got to make a bend. So Talia started walking backwards, but Tajay ain't moving. So she asked again, Tajay, what? She said, look over there. So Talia said when she looked over there, she just turned around. She ran. She left. Tajay said she was froze. She said she couldn't move because of what she saw. So she's standing there, stuck. She said she urinated on herself and everything. She said this thing was standing over by the tree. She said this thing looked like a big dove. She said, but this thing was standing upright. It was standing up. And she said she know doves can't stand up. She said doves can't stand up on no 2 feet like that. She said it looked like it had features like us, like a human. This how she describing this thing. She said it had the head of a dove, but it was just standing up on 2 feet. She said this thing was black. She said this thing had long arms. She said because it had one of its arms wrapped around a tree. The right arm wrapped around the tree. The other arm was hanging down, palms hanging in front of his body. So she said she can't move. Now, mind you, Talia, she done gone back to the house, but as I get into the story, Talia went back to go get her grandfather for her to come back up there. So as Tajay still standing there, this thing started growling at her, like a low growl. I don't know, and I can't say what's on a person's mind. She said this thing was talking to her mind like it was saying, don't move, I ain't gonna hurt you. She said she hearing this thing say this stuff to her, but this thing mouth ain't moving. She said it's like she can clearly hear the voice saying this, don't move, I ain't gonna hurt you. And she said she just stood there because she was in shock. She can't move, she just stood there. But mind you, now Talia went back to the house, so she went back to go get her grandfather. So her grandfather, they calling out, Tajay, where you at? You all right? So they get up there, they see her standing there in the middle of the thing. So when the grandfather get up there, she grabs her, and Tajay just starts screaming, yelling, ah! Turn around, start hitting on her grandfather. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? She said, I won't go home. He said, ask him what's wrong. So Talia told the grandfather, Daddy, we seen something over there in the woods. Now, mind you, Talia didn't really get a good sight of this thing, but she knew it was something over there standing by that tree. She said it was something over there by the tree. So they get back to the house. So Tajay, they in the room, and she crying. She asking Talia, why you leave me? She said, because I saw that thing over by the tree. So I turned around and ran. I thought you would come with me. She said, but I went back to go get Grandpa so he'd come up there and get you. She's sitting there and she crying now. When I talked to the mother, that's really why she didn't really want her daughter to tell this encounter, man, because of the stuff that she went through. Man, this girl is still traumatized by this, man. Like I said, it took me about a month for me to get this encounter from this little kid, man. But one thing I want to say, man, when she was telling me encounter, to her best of her knowledge, man, she stood strong throughout it all. She said she still had nightmares about this thing. She said she could still hear this thing saying, don't run, don't move, and all that stuff like that. But mother said she not taking her back down there no more. So I told the mother, I said, you should listen to these couple of things about these things because they are out here. They're called Dogman. They all cryptids. They all roaming these woods out here. And not just here in Virginia, they in all states. They everywhere, even in Canada. You know what I mean? They've been seen in Russia. And I was telling her stuff like that. And I had just talked to her a couple of days ago. And I told her I'm going to tell her story on the radio. Gave me a permission. And I always told her that I would keep in contact with her to make sure that the daughter is doing all right, because should nobody have to see these things out here, man. It's just crazy, man. It really don't make no sense, man, that a child gotta go through this. Now, I mean, she's probably gonna be traumatized for the rest of her life, man. And, you know, my heart go out to her because when she was telling me the story before, tears in my eyes. Even when I had my encounter, even though I'm older, that thing still put fear in me to this day. I don't want to see that no more. I know that. I got one more encounter. This one come out of North Carolina. This person that I talked to is a professional person, so not going to use their name like I always say, but they was kind enough to share their encounter with me. So here go about their encounter. This encounter happened in 1999. It was in the state of North Carolina. And this lady, she got a good job, so I'm not going to say her profession. This name that I'm going to use is Rose. Rose said that she was home one day, just sitting in the house. She lived by herself. She's a widow, so she don't really have too much family, put it that way. So Rose said she was home one day, and every night she liked to go sit out on her front porch. So where her house is at, it sit on the road. But you might see one house, and probably like a quarter mile, you might see another house. And across the street on the other side, it's a tree line. It's number wooded area. Number woods on that side, across from my house. So she said she used to come out and sit on the front porch every night, just sit out there and listen to the radio, just to get a peace of mind. So she said this particular night, she goes out there. She sit on the front porch. So turn the front porch light on. She got a little chair that she got. She sit out there. But she said every time she goes on the front porch, she leaves her door cracked. So when she get up, she just walk back in and shut her door. So she said she's sitting out there one night. Now, mind you, from my house to the edge of the road, it's not that far. It's probably like 30 feet. Then probably another 15 feet on the other side to the tree line, to where the woods start at. So she said she out on the porch and she's sitting down. And it's probably around, because she said the sun was getting ready to go down, but it still was kind of light outside, but the sun was going down. So she's sitting out and she's sitting on the front porch. So she listened to the radio. So she said she started hearing something was howling, making a howl noise. She looking, she heard this thing howl. But she said it wasn't like on TV you might hear like a wolf or a coyote howl. She said this thing howled. She said it was a long howl and it was loud. It wasn't like a little small loud. She said it was a long howl. And so she was sitting on her porch to see coyotes or whatever. That's what she's thinking in her mind. So she's sitting there. So she said she started hearing noise on the other side of the street of her house. I told you, she right there by the tree line, so she's not that far from it. She can hear like sticks breaking, crack, crack. So she looking over in that direction. So like I tell you, the sun was going down. So when she looked over in that direction, in front of her house, probably 10 feet to the left, she said something gave her eyesight over that way. So she looking over that way. So she said when she look over that way, she said she can see something standing up by a tree. It's standing up. See the silhouette of it. But she can see this figure because, like I said, the sun wasn't really gone down yet. She could see this figure. She said this thing had his arm up on a tree, wrapped like around a branch, like it had like its arm and its hand wrapped around a branch. So she said she looking over there. She looking, you know, it's a dark figure because she trying to really focus in to get what this thing is standing up here. Because she said this thing was tall. She said it couldn't be a person because it was too dark. Then she see these glowing eyes. She said her eyes was yellow. And she said they was big. She see the eyes and they glowing. So she looking. And oh my God, what was that? So she said she seen this thing bring that arm down that it had on the branch. It brought it down and put it by its side. She said this thing took a few steps to the edge of the tree line, to where the tree line started at, not where the edge of the road started at. She said this thing stood there. So while she's sitting on her porch, she said this thing, she don't know what it did. She don't know if this thing had springs or not. She said this thing jumped from that side of the tree line over there on her side to where she lived at. Now, mind you, I told you that tree line where she was looking at in front of her house, this thing was 10 feet to the left. It jumps over on her side, jumps on the other side, and this thing running down, like on the side of her house. It runs down, runs straight through the side, like it's going around back. She said she jumped up, went in the house, locked the door, slammed the door, put the chains on it. She bolted and everything. She went in the house. She said she got her shotgun. She kept a shotgun in the house. So she said she ran to the back. She went to the back to look out the back. She went out the back to look. So she looked. She said she could see this thing run because there's trees behind her house too. She said she see this thing running, bipedal, running towards the other side of the tree line behind her house. So she said she cracked the window so she could see anything. She said when she lifted up that window, she said this, all she heard was trees, sticks breaking and everything. So this thing was running through the woods like she don't know what it was. But like I asked and told her, the description she gave me, she did say that this thing was canine and did have a dog-like head because she caught a glimpse at this thing running down the side of the house anyway, because when it's coming down, it comes through that yard right there because there's no more houses right there. It's just her house that's set right there. She said this thing did have a canine head. She said when this thing was running, she said because it was running funny, but she said this thing was fast. Said it had long arms, but it ran funny, like a hopping running. It had the long arms, it had a canine head. She said she seen the ears on it. She said it had the dog legs. Because I always ask these people, do y'all know what y'all see? Because I'm not going to doubt nobody or their authenticity about what they got to say or what they saw. And this lady told me what she's seen, man, and every person that I deal with and I tell these encounters, you know, I believe their story 100%. Because like I said, though, these people ain't getting nothing out of this. They ain't got to lie about nothing. Yeah, but she said this thing ran on the other side of the tree line behind our house, though. But she said it was K9, and this thing was up on 2 feet. And she said this thing, it moved fast. That's my encounters right there.
Marvin, thanks again so much for coming back on and sharing these new stories with us. You know, I really appreciate it.
Ain't no problem, Vic. But like I said, though, I still had some more, but I know I can do them another time.
Well, when you've got those other stories ready to share with us, please do let me know. I'd love to have you back on. Having said that, thanks again so much for your time. Have a great night.
You too, Vic.
Thanks. We'll see ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. If you've had a Dogman encounter of your own and would like to speak with me, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. I'd love to hear from you.